Hey everybody, back at the rock today. Today I wanted to talk about getting started with flipping balisongs. And specifically, like all of the things that you're going to need as you get into this hobby. I know that a lot of people that watch my videos are more beginners, and I wanted to kind of make a video for that. Obviously, you're going to need a balisong. And that's not really what I want to talk about in this video, like which balisong to get. I want to talk about all the other stuff that you might not realize you need. So, if we open up our little case here, we can see all of this lovely stuff. Now, the first thing we're going to talk about is oil. You need some kind of oil. And now I shouldn't say that you need oil for your balisongs, but just about everybody that's not DJI-less Pyro uses oil. So I would definitely say it's something that you should look into getting. Just for instance, oil is basically going to make your balisong feel smoother. It's going to give it better tolerances. And the thing that it does for a lot of flippers is it improves the sound of their balisong. So I have my Vulp, which is pretty dry. It's pretty dry right now. Right now it's got some tap. So we will put some oil in it. Now how often you need to oil your balisongs is going to be dependent on how often you flip them, and also the kind of climate that you live in, you know, if it's humid or dry. All those things will affect how often you need to oil it. But the big thing to know is that when you oil it, it is going to really improve the experience. Immediately you can hear it sounds better. And let's check the tap. And now the tap is gone. All of that from adding just a few drops of oil. That is why so many people swear by using oil, and everybody uses oil. It does so much for your balisongs, and if you don't use it, you don't even realize what you're missing out on. And that is why it's one of the things that you need to make sure that you get as a beginner. Now, which kind of oil to get? Also not really what I'm talking about here, but in general, most people like a thicker oil. Thicker oils are going to do a better job of making your balisong feel smooth, and they'll do a better job of helping the tolerances because they fill in the gaps between the handles better. That's why oil's able to fix tolerances, is because there'll be little gaps in between, say, the washers and the handles or the blade that you can't really see, but the oil's able to get in between those gaps and fill them in, giving you a better tune. So in general, people like thicker oils for that. Thicker oils will also make your balisong flip slightly slower. The thinner the oil is, the faster it'll make it flip. But also know that the thinner your oil is, the more often you're going to have to replace it. So thicker oils tend to last longer than thinner oils. Another thing that you're going to need is a Torx bit. Some kind of bit that you can use on your balisongs to tighten them. Obviously, you know, that should only be necessary if you take your balisongs apart and put them back together. But as we all know, there's a lot of balisongs that don't like to stay tight, and you'll have to retighten them or Loctite them. But a lot of people don't like Loctite. So really, you're going to need some kind of Torx bit. I will show this product. This is an excellent product. This is a Weha Torx bit driver. It's magnetic in here. You can put your bit in there. Even better, this bottom part comes off and it stores a bunch of extra bits. You can buy this, I think, on like Amazon, Walmart. It's not that expensive. I think it was like less than 20 bucks. It's really great. Gives you a lot of torque when turning. I really like this thing. But that is definitely something that you're going to want to get as a beginner or as somebody new to the hobby. You're going to want to get some kind of set of screwdrivers that you can use on your balisongs. In general, just about every single balisong is going to need a Torx bit, and the most common sizes are T8 and T10. Occasionally you will see T6, and also I believe sometimes T15. So if you get T6 through T15, you should be set forever with balisongs. But like I said, most common is T8 and T10. So, what is some other stuff that you will need? Well, here we have some Loctite. Now, I'm not necessarily going to say you need Loctite. However, a lot of balisongs do need something to keep the screws tight. So, Loctite is something good to have. Now, you can use Loctite, you can use Teflon tape, that's up to personal preference. Loctite is very simple. You unscrew the balisong, you put one drop on the screw or in the pivot, screw it back together, wait 24 hours for it to fully set, and then you're fine, and that screw will not come out. Of course, doing this makes it harder to take apart in the future, so that is kind of benefit versus the downsides thing to look at. But Loctite or some kind of thread locker is something that is good to consider getting. Some other things I have in this case. This is acting as our little pivot needle. So a pivot needle is when you take apart a balisong and you want to put it together, it's really hard to get all of the parts to line up. A pivot needle lets you line up the washer. You just put the washer's blade and handle back together, and then you shove this through, which will perfectly align all of the components, which will let you just put the pivots right back in. And if you've never taken apart a balisong and had to put it together, you're probably thinking, it's not a big deal. I don't need a pivot needle. I can do that by myself. You need a pivot needle. If you're taking apart your balisongs and putting them back together, especially fairly regularly, you need to get a pivot needle. It will make your life so much easier. I cannot stress that enough. So something to look into getting. Another thing you might want to consider getting as a beginner and someone new to the hobby are bite handle indicators. So bite handle indicators will go, this one, they go on the end of one of your handles, like so, and they mark which side is the bite handle, aka which side houses the blade. And, you know, this is something that some flippers like to have because it lets them really quickly pick up their bally and see where it is. Some balisongs don't have a side with an edge, so people like to put them on there so they can treat one side as having an edge, even though it doesn't. You know, like the squiddies don't have a side that looks like an edge, so putting a bite handle indicator on it allows you to treat it as if it does have one. Some people don't like them, some people do. It's really a personal preference thing. If you like them, you can get them. But something you could get as someone new to the hobby. Another thing that is really good to get, even if you don't plan on having a big collection, is a case. In terms of cases, Nabali's has these cases, which are great for really small collections. Will Hirsch sells cases that work great if you have a more moderate to big collection. Cases are great if you ever want to travel or just have one place to store all your balisong stuff in. Even if you only have one balisong, you could use this case, for instance, and you could put all your other stuff in there. Normally this case would have slots for balisongs, but I took that out for today so I could fit all the stuff in there. But you can see how I can put a few balisongs. I can probably stack balisongs and put all that in there. I could fit like 4 balisongs and then all this other stuff in there. It's just a really great thing to have for storing balisongs, especially if you're traveling with them. Cases are good to get. Now, I do want to talk a little bit about what balisong to get as you get into the hobby. And in light of everything that I have said, my recommendation is the Nabali's Vulp. Because the Nabali's Vulp comes with basically everything that I said in this video. So, let's go through that. What does it come with? It comes with a container of oil, super lube, good stuff. It comes with thread locker, for the pivots. It comes with a Torx bit that is also a pivot needle. It comes with all of this, plus the balisong. That is so crazy good. Plus, it also comes with a complete set of spare hardware. So, extra washers, screws, bushings, all of that. It's crazy. The amount of value that you can get with a Vulp is insane. Obviously, if you look online, some people are going to kind of trash talk the Vulp and tell you that it doesn't flip that well. But I'm going to tell you that if you're looking to get your first balisong, get a Vulp. It flips plenty good enough for you to learn on. And for $60, you really cannot beat the value. At the time that it came out, it was revolutionary, and it literally started a whole new balisong market for these cheaper end balisongs. They were still good. And obviously, that was, I think, over 2 years ago at this point, or so. But still, it still holds up. Eventually, of course, you are going to outgrow the Vulp. But the thing with the Vulp is even once you outgrow the balisong, this other stuff that it comes with is still going to be useful. To this day, I still use this as a pivot needle. This is my pivot needle. So the Vulp is going to have a lasting impact on your collection even after you outgrow flipping it. And that is really what I think makes it so great. And the perfect balisong to get as a beginner. That was what I wanted to cover in this video. I wanted to talk about, you know, this is what you need to get started. This is where I would start if you're completely new. Of course, you can, you know, you can buy different oils. You can experiment with different things. Find out what kind of things you like. But this is going to give you the kind of basic overview of what you're going to need getting into the hobby. And I think that the Vulp is the perfect way to get started. So, I hope that you have all had a wonderful day. If you have any video suggestions, leave them in the comments below. I read all of the comments. If you enjoyed, you can always consider subscribing. Love to see that. Yeah, but until next time, hope you have a wonderful day. Keep flipping.